let's welcome Mr. Vineet Tyagi, Head of North Sales, Rayzon Solar. Vineet Tyagi is North Sales Head at Rayzon Solar, one of the India's leading solar panel manufacturers. Recognized for his steadfast commitment for advancing to solar innovations and promoting sustainable solutions, Mr. Tyagi leads Rayzon Solar's distinguished North Sales team with an unmatched dedication and a reservoir of expertise. With a professional journey spanning over 2 decades, he has successfully steered nationwide operations in both B2B and B2C domains, leaving an indelible mark in both urban and rural segments. His comprehensive experience spanning nearly a decade in solar sector plays a pivotal role in cell and module manufacturing, channel and institutional sales, and noteworthy contributions to significant solar power projects. Mr. Tyagi will present a talk on policy framework and administrative support. So let's welcome Mr. Tyagi.
What more is there? I think that will be also very much exciting and more informative. So, as discussed, we'll be developing more upon the policy and the administrative part of it. So, frankly speaking, I just give you a purview of what we have done till now and what we expected to do up to 2030. That is what the government is expecting up till now. So, primarily, as on date, we are sitting close to around installations of around 70 gigawatt of solar installations capacity in India right now, and of which around 56 gigawatt is of ground mounted, and around 11 gigawatt is through rooftops. And if we talk of the total installed capacity in India, renewables will contribute around 43% of the total capacity, which translates to around 180 gigawatt of. So when we are looking at a figure of 500 gigawatt by 2030, out of which the solar and wind has to contribute approximately 280 gigawatt and 120 gigawatt respectively. So the gap is, if I talk of solar alone, is of 200 gigawatt alone, which translates into around installations of 40 gigawatt approximately up till 2030. And in terms of wind, we still have a lot of way to go for. Government has plans of tendering around 50 gigawatts of tenders every years up till 2030, and of which around 40 gigawatt has to come from the solar and minimum 10 gigawatt has to come from the wind side. So that much is the market what we are expecting in the next 7 to 8 years. So to support these kind of initiatives, we need to have policy frameworks and administrative regulations, etc., in place to have whatever kind of things we have. Maybe the policy in terms of the manufacturings, maybe the policy in terms of the investments, policy for the transmission and distributions, policies for the implementation part. So I think government is doing fantastic job in terms of the policy. Up till now, what we have done or whatever we have achieved, say 2020, 14, we were sitting around 3 gigawatt of power, and close to 80 or 73 precisely what we have right now. So it is 30 times growth over a period of almost 8 to 9 years. So that is the job which has been done by the private sector and as well as supported by the government policies. But policies alone will not be sufficient, because they have to be backed by the right intent in terms of the implementation part. And we face normal in day-to-day activities, we see a lot of problems from the discoms, maybe lack of awareness from the customers, or maybe lack of awareness on the part of the discom officials, and in terms of I would say the technical capabilities also. So that is where the things are lacking. We have the policies. If I talk of manufacturing per se, we have come up with the PLI scheme for supporting the high technology manufacturing of modules, supported by an initiative of approximately 24,000 CR. So that is a right kind of setup which has been giving a push to the domestic manufacturing in India. But these kind of initiatives are good only for big players. So what is lacking is that we need to involve the MSME segment also into this. We have seen top 5, 7, 8 players are mainly who have come up with the proposals, and they are the ones who are driving the markets. If we have to involve the larger part of the industry, we need to have the policies for the MSME segment as well. Then we had implemented the policies for the BCDs, that is on the to restrict the imports from other countries. Like 25% BCD is there on cell, and 40% BCD is there on the solar modules. But to have that kind of support in Indian manufacturing also is very much required. We need to have the products which are of world in standards in terms of the technology, in terms of the efficiency, and also in terms of the costs also, so that the project developers or the EPC players, they also have a lowest LCOE depending upon the cost of the modules and the other BOS systems. So that is pertaining to the manufacturing side. And in terms of the transmission, if I see, solar, as you all know, is basically as an unstable generation. We may have the peak generation during the afternoon hours, whereas the demand side, the peak is there in the evening hours. So in terms of the seasonal variation also, we need to have a grid stability. That is also a very important aspect of it. So we need to have the policies which are backed up by the energy storage system, like what government is currently doing. They have announced in the recent budget 4 gigawatt hours of battery energy storage systems, but they have yet to see the light of the day. So policies backed by the implementation part is also a very important aspect of it. Then we have seen in terms of the wind and the solar hybrid systems also have been proposed by the government, since they are complementary to each other. So this is again a welcome initiative from the government side of it. And in terms of the implementations, I would say particularly like to highlight the part of rooftop, what Gaurav has also highlighted. Rooftop is one segment wherein we have not done exceedingly what I would say, compared to the ground mountain. There are a lot of factors which are involved into it. Actually, the policy variation from states and the centers, since power is a state specific subject, so there are a lot of variation in terms of the policies from state to state. So that is also one of the hindrance in it. The second hindrance in this rooftop is the lack of availability of easy finance. Since there are I would say rooftop is primarily of commercial, industrial, and the residential part. So in terms of commercial and residentials, we are seeing a lot of attraction already there into it. But as far as residential is concerned, a lot of things needs to be done. Likewise, as I just mentioned, in terms of the easy availability of the finance, that is one part where we need to look into it. The policies should be framed wherein the third party financing model should be encouraged, wherein a third party who invests, owns, and operates the systems on behalf of the consumer. Since there are no clear cut mechanisms to assess the credit risk of the rooftop consumer, it becomes very difficult for the investors to park their funds in something where the I would say the risk factor is on a very higher side. So this is one of the factors which is affecting the rooftop solar to take up in a big way. So the government should come with the policies wherein the IREDA or maybe some the banks and all are encouraged enough to give soft loans to the residential sectors also. And in terms of commercials and the industrial side, I would say discoms can be made a party to the PPA signed between the developers and the roof owners, so that the chances of defaultment are minimized to the certain extent. If somebody is defaulting on a payment side, or a defaultment is there, so the power can be cut off by the discoms. Likewise, many punitive actions can be taken, so that there is a guarantee on the part of the developers, and they are in fact encouraged, and they are in fact supported by the participation of discoms in the PPA. And the third thing is the transmission and the distribution. The policy frameworks, we have seen that we have robust generation, but in terms of the peak hours, there is a mismatch between the demand and the supply. Some regions we have the excess supply, and other regions we have the low demands. Likewise, during the daytime also we have different peak and demand cycles. So wherein we have the excess supply, that's intra-state transmission distribution networks needs to be strengthened in that. Government has taken a very recent initiative of strengthening around 10,000 kilometers of transmission system with an investment outlay of approximately 12,000 crores. So these are the positive steps in the right directions. So likewise, when we talk of manufacturing, transmissions and operational handicaps, so policies pertaining to this are very much required and needs to be implemented on ground as well. So not just the policies and the operational part, the other part which comes into the role is also very important, is the sustainability of the policies. We have seen of late the policy flip flops in terms of, probably I like to highlight the LLM sector. You might be all be aware of it. It has been extended twice in fact. So these kind of uncertainties or the policies flip flops discourage the investors to invest or park their funds, so that the project viability is also hampered in this. So the policies backed by the sustainability, backed by the right operational implementation part, are going to give us a lot of support and provide us with a lot of opportunities to achieve a target of 500 gigawatts in the near future. Thank you.